Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Hakuoki Ito Blossoms. In Chapter 3 of Yamazaki's Route, we just started Chapter 3, and now we're gonna go hunt for Kodo, because that motherfucker's evil. So, yeah. Everyone else is gonna leave, and then shit's gonna go down, and we're not gonna be there. It's fine. So, like, all this stuff, obviously, like, the Sanin betraying everyone. We won't get to... You know what? It's funny, if you think about it, that's the only time... I just realized, like, in Saito's route, because in Heisuke's route, we stayed behind. Nokita's route was totally different. Sanin's route, obviously, he didn't betray anyone, because, you know. And Yamazaki's, we're going to look for Kodo. Everyone else is going to Aizu, which is where I think that's when they were in the house, where then Kondo gets kidnapped and then killed and blah, 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 and it was all Sanin betraying them. We're never around for that, because Iba's route, we won't be anywhere near them. You know what I mean? I'm assuming, because you haven't seen him, so obviously it's going to be totally different. Harada and Nagakura leave, so when we're in their route, we're going off with them. Well, maybe in Soma's route. Maybe in Soma's route, and then in Hijikata. Because that's what I was thinking. Like, Hijikata's route's going to be the only one that we would be dealing with that again. You know what I mean? Well, that's good. We just know. We just know because we were in Saito's route, but otherwise we wouldn't know. Like, interesting. Anyway, I just thought of that. So, days had passed since Hijikata assigned everyone to their next order of business. As directed, the Shinsengumi departed Ito in a convoy for Aizu, recruiting every able-bodied warrior to join the growing resistance effort. She makes no mention of Harada and Nagakura leaving. It's weird because I thought it was going to come up when they were there, and Saito and Shimada were the only other two there. Because, like, Sanin and Heisuke wouldn't have been there, and Okita's basically dead. But Harada and Nagakura should have been there, but after they got back, were like, peace, and left. So, like, they didn't bring that up in this one. Interesting. Unfortunately, not everyone in the Shinsengumi was pleased with Hijikata's decision. Aha, okay, here we go. I was just wondering if they're going to bring it up. Nagakura and Harada, who had previously voiced their discontent with Kondo, publicly announced their decision to leave the Shinsengumi. Okay. Yamazaki and I had other plans, remaining in Ito to locate any hint of where father could be. Let's go back to my house. If he's going to show up anywhere, it'd be there. The afternoon sunset dyed the sky red, lurking above the horizon like an ominous premonition. We walked as a pair through Ito underneath the soft glow of the dying sunlight. How are you feeling, Yamazaki? Do you think it would have been better if we waited until sundown? No, this is fine. By this hour, the worst of the sun's harsh rays have subsided. As we exchanged pleasantries, I noticed people of all walks of life flitting by us hurriedly. Word of the shogunate's failed campaign spread, and so too did news of the imperial army's march to Ito. 300 years of peace under the Tokugawa regime were about to come crashing down, and Ito was at the center of the collapse. I eavesdropped on the conversations nearby, hearing everyone murmur nervously to one another. Is something wrong, Yukamura? Oh, nothing. I was wondering to myself what my life would have been like if I had never met the Shinsengumi. If on that fateful night I had never bumped into that bloodthirsty creatures, there's 3 of them, I thought, things would have unfolded differently. I would have hung my head low, returning to Ito as a downtrodden wreck. The hideous truth of father's work would have eluded me, and my days would be wasted in waiting for him. Perhaps in your case, life would have been so much happier. Ignorance is bliss, as they say, and you were free to carry on living your life as a normal girl. But if none of this ever happened, then I wouldn't have met you, Yamazaki. I know, right? She's like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, right? Like, so I don't regret a single thing. I'm more than elated with the choices that I've made. Elated. He's kind of cute when he's blushing because he's like, oh, he has this look like, oh my god, why would you say that? Why would you say something so embarrassing? It's fucking hilarious. I believe we've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it again. You tease me too much. You're not allowed to charm and steal my heart whenever you please. Oh my god, that's adorable. Guys, I'm gonna faint. Huh? What do you mean by that? Nothing. Okay, let's get back to the matter at hand. It's so cute. You're not allowed to charm and steal it. What? Oh! Oh! Oh, it's so beautiful. Some routes, there's like literally like no romance. You're like, he looked at me. It was romantic. And then there's things like this where you're like, oh! Take my breath away. After his little outburst, Yamazaki cleared his throat, assuming a stern tone that I could tell was forced. Like Yamazaki and Sanen's routes have like, Sanen's route was like fucking like romance overload, like just subtle, gentle, where you're like, oh my god, that's adorable. That's adorable. And he's got his moments too. So like that. Oh, that's adorable. It's cute. I love it. Anyway. And we're already like, I told you I'd stay by your side. It's like, oh, you guys love each other. You just haven't said it yet. That's cute. Oh, you each know. And like other rounds, like in Saito's route, we're like, does he not know that we're in love with him? Like, we should, when we went, we're like, we're going to stay with him. He's like, why? And you're like, are you fucking stupid? Duh. Knock, knock. Hello. Like, wake up. Been following you for 4 fucking years, dude. Like, you know, I'm just saying, he's our little robot. He was our robot. He didn't understand humans. He didn't understand how to human. It's adorable. I love the robots. Anyway. After his little outburst, Yamazaki cleared his throat, assuming a stern tone that I could tell was forced. We have some time before the Imperial Army is scheduled to arrive in Edo. So in the meantime, our objective is to sniff for any clues that identify cities he may have visited. You want to investigate the house I used to live in? That's a good start. Toto mentioned something about visiting your father's house, but perhaps he may have missed something. If everything goes as planned, then perhaps we'll be able to deduce your father's whereabouts. Yamazaki cut himself short. Suddenly, I heard his footsteps come to a halt. Yamazaki? Out of curiosity, I turned my head to get a peek. Oh no! In broad daylight? Yamazaki clutched his hand over his chest, grunting loudly as his eyes began bulging from their sockets. Oh no! There was no mistaking it. He was experiencing a bout of bloodlust. Worst of all, it was occurring in the middle of a crowded public street with passers-by on all sides. I hastily threw my arm around Yamazaki's shoulders, whose teeth were clamped over his tongue as he kept himself from crying out in agony. Yamazaki, this way! It was imperative that he remained out of sight. The two of us bolted into a dim, narrow alley, out of sight and away from sunlight. I kept my back facing the main road, and I wiped the beads of cold sweat dripping from Yamazaki's forehead. Yamazaki, I'm here for you. Don't worry, I'll make him endure it this time. No. Wouldn't that be funny if it was like the one time? You have to endure it now. No, I'm just kidding. I'll let you drink some of my blood. My eyes darted around us, and after ensuring that we were safe, I unsheathed my kodachi and ran the edge of my blade against the tip of my index finger. Ow. That doesn't look like your index finger. Obviously, it doesn't matter where she said it's always going to look the same. He flicked his tongue at my cut, taking soft sips of my blood as it trickled into his lips. And there was something naughty about how eagerly he sucked my blood, gently nibbling on the fingertip. There's something naughty about how he eagerly... As long as you don't say probing it like his tongue under the cut, like you did the last time. Gross. You just took the sexy out of it. I couldn't help but think of the townsfolk bouncing to and from their destinations in the background, so I started growing nervous. Oh, that's him. Yamazaki, I think you need to hurry or someone's going to see us. He's literally just sucking on your finger, so it looks weird, but... I know, but... more. Just a little more. I relented, feeling the pressure of his lips pinching my finger as it raced up my arm. As he finished, his pale face was beginning to regain color. The side effect of his affliction were taking a larger toll on his body than I could have imagined. Yamazaki fell unconscious on my lap and dropping like a stone to the floor. I panicked, shifting my eyes. Had anyone seen us? Did anyone hear the howl of his raspy voice? Regardless of either question, it was pertinent that we moved out of sight. I took a deep breath, inhaling as I threw Yamazaki's arm over his shoulder and supported his weight. My shoulder, maybe? It's not a real bird. His frame may have been smaller than some of the other Shinsengumi men, but dead weight is no joke. I mustered all of my grit, considering there was no one around us who could help. The Shinsengumi had migrated north for Aizu. Both Nagakura and Harada vacated their positions, and Okita was still bedridden, ill with a respiratory disease, dying. For once, I had only myself to rely upon. I hadn't taken 2 steps before my body started aching, just when I thought I would faint. Hey, is that man okay? Here, let me help you carry him. Is there a clinic or something nearby? I tensed, gradually turning my head over my shoulder. Their amiable voice calling out to us belonged to a young man, not too much older than Yamazaki or myself. I was just wondering, so the young man, I was like, it is. It's what's his name? If you watch the prequel season, you know who this is. It's the what's his face. I can't remember. Why can't I remember his name? But he's the one who Ibuki. Is that his first name or his last name? That's his name. Yeah, I think so. He's the artist guy who drew that picture. Remember? And then like Toto was like, and then we saw him in Heisuke's route. But anyway, there you go. I knew it was going to be him. A long, frizzled tuft of hair covered his head, and he furrowed his brow upon closer inspection. He was cheerful, and I had an inclination to trust him. It was a peculiar feeling, almost as if we had been previously acquainted despite never having met. However, I shook my head, stopping myself from dwelling too much. I'm okay, thank you. I can manage just fine on my own. I stepped backwards, making sure to keep Yamazaki's face hidden behind me. A look of confusion fell on the young man's face, and he scratched his coarse mess of hair curiously. Oh, pardon me. I can imagine feeling reluctant when a stranger approaches you out of the blue. But I suppose it can't be helped. I find it difficult to ignore someone when they appear in distress. Oh, on the outside he looked totally harmless, but the timing of his offer to help was a tad conspicuous. I eased my back, lowering my shoulder. The young man gasped, widening his eyes when he caught sight of Yamazaki's face behind my shoulder. Yamazaki? Huh? Hey! You're Yamazaki of the Shinsengumi, aren't you? Ibuki? Yeah, that's right. It's me, Ryunosuke Ibuki. I'm so glad that they actually kind of shows up. Like, we saw him in Heisuke's round. He's like, no, I can't talk to him. And it's like, oh, yes, you can. Because you were friends. You're everybody's friend. Heisuke is everybody's fucking friend, I swear. But it was so sad. But I can't believe they have him show up again. That's so cool. Yeah, you should watch the prequel season. It's the best. It really is my favorite. I haven't watched the second season that's supposed to go with this because I wanted to make sure we played most of it before I watch it. You know what I'm saying. Anyway. Somehow I felt Yamazaki perk up in response, but without a clear view of his face, it was impossible to know. I was hoping to judge the young man's reaction. Behind me, Yamazaki sighed. He was cycling through a flurry of emotions, or at least this was the impression I gathered. And once Yamazaki began recognizing the man in front of us, I heard his voice quiver as if he were on the verge of tears. Where the hell have you been, man? You're alive? Last I heard, the Shinsengumi were all but wiped out, so I assumed... Hey, why don't I invite the two of you back to my house? We got so much to catch up on. No, my apologies, but I believe you've mistaken me. What? What do you mean? You're Susumu Yamazaki, right? You've got that same old stern look on your face. On the outside, you're a real hard-ass. But deep down, you've got a heart of gold. Oh. Ringing any bells? You're one of the Shinsengumi's watch, right? And you've got some medical... No. No. Come on, Yamazaki. He knows who you are. It's like... Yamazaki is just... He's just sad because he's a fury. You know about them, right? You drew... oh, you're the guy who drew that picture! That's why I know you, yo. Girl, figure it out. I'm not that. I'm not who you think I am. Hey! Suddenly Yamazaki let go of me, seemingly having regathered his strength, and he sprinted away. For a moment I stood there awkwardly watching Yamazaki distance himself from the man known as Ibuki. She's like... I'm literally I've got this look on my face this is exactly what her face is like. Wide eyes awkward! He just left, and I don't know what to tell you, bro. I've never met that man before in my life. Strolls away casually. I am so sorry, but please excuse me. I bowed politely towards Ibuki before sprinting around to rush after Yamazaki. We dashed through the bevy of crowds, packing the darkening streets. And the funny thing is, he's like, Ibuki? He's like, yeah, it's me, right, Yamazaki? No, I have no idea who you are. And it's like, Yamazaki, and Ibuki's like, the fuck, man? Oh, God. I did read that right. Yeah, packing. We dashed through the bevy of crowds packing the... Okay, I did. By the time we had reached the city's outskirts, a hazy dust covered the sky above us. We made it. We arrived at Yukamura Clinic. And time had changed my old house, and the paint peeled upon the outside walls, sprinkling bits into the stone walkway. It was my home, but only a name. The title engraved with our family name was fading, and I grazed it with my fingers, tracing the path of the familiar grooves. I have been gone for so long, the house has fallen into a state of disrepair. So, this is where you used to live, huh? Yes, my father and I lived here together. I recognized the scent in the air, slowly ambling past the entrance gate. Scattered weeds emerged through the cracks in the stone, and I rested my hand upon the door. Before I slid open the entrance, I turned around and faced Yamazaki to ask him something. Was the man who bumped into us earlier an acquaintance of yours? Did you forget the conversation already? I already said that I didn't know him. Yamazaki barked defensively, but I could tell that he was lying to me. I mean, we already know that I could tell he's lying to me, but not only because of the way he's acting, but also because he knew the guy's name and the guy knew him, so clearly he's lying. I mean, his reasons for hiding it were unclear to me, so I asked Yamazaki if they were friends. If he wasn't an acquaintance, was he your friend? How did you come to that conclusion? Never seen him before in my life. But he knew your name. His face lit up when he recognized you. Besides, your reaction was very strange. Yamazaki had normally displayed level-headedness in moments of extreme duress, which made his erratic behavior all the more troubling. When you spoke with Ibuki, I could tell that something shifted in your speech. Most of all, I'd never seen you get so excited before. It was impossible to miss. Well, I can't help it. The two of us have a lot of history together. He'd get me in trouble, and I'd return the favor. So, well, I suppose in some ways, one could describe the two of us as friends. That's not really how it happened in the anime, though. It was more like, Yamazaki took his job very seriously and used to yell at Ibuki and be like, God damn it, shape up, bitch! Basically. That's the impression I got. Like, that's basically what happened. I mean, the few times. I did think they kicked each other's ass once, though. I think Yamazaki did more of the ass kicking, if I remember correctly. He was, like, really angry at Ibuki for being, like, whiny. Kind of like a whiny, moody teenager. You know. The useless, whiny, moody teenager. Like, we're the useless one, but we're not as whiny and moody. We're just useless. And a girl. So it's okay. Anyway. At last, Yamazaki admitted the truth, letting a small sigh out from under his breath. I met him. No. Ibuki and I met years ago. Way before I ever met you. Back then, we weren't the Shinsengumi yet. We were the Roshigumi. Mibu Roshigumi, the original name of the organization that later became known as the Shinsengumi. More colloquially, it was known as the Roshigumi. It was a formative period for us. We had just arrived in Kyoto, and the two of us became fast friends. Yamazaki gazed longingly at the sky above us, watching the star patterns twinkle brightly. I wish they had spent more time on that like them. But again, Yamazaki's always like the little side chick. You know what I mean? He's like the side character that you never see, but you love. You're like, we like Yamazaki. What the fuck is going on with him? He also wasn't in the very beginning. He showed up later. But it's serious, the prequel season. I know it's season 3, but it's technically the prequel. It's the best. It's the best because you don't have Derpy McSaucer face up in here like ruining everything. It's just the boys being adorable. And Sonen's happy and not stabby and crazy. It's great. It's beautiful. Anyway. I'm not sure I can watch the second season if it's going to do this, where, like, everybody dies and, like, Sonen's evil. I don't know if I can handle that. I mean, he's already starting to lose his mind in the first season of the anime, but I don't know if I can watch the second one if it's going to go like this. I think I can handle it. I can't. I'm just going to go back to that third one. Anyway. His voice trailed off, causing me to ponder what may have caused a rift between Ibuki and the Shinsengumi. I wondered how he settled all the way here in Edo. Yamazaki left it at that, letting out another sigh as his eyes dropped to meet mine. At some point, my and Ibuki's paths splintered, and the two of us hadn't seen each other since. In the beginning, we took pride in our roles together, but eventually, he decided he had enough of the bloodshed and returned to a normal, civilian life. All that matters to me is that he is safe. I can't ask for much else, really. You speak very warmly about him. He must have meant a lot to you. Once upon a time, but he's a tactless one. If he were to discover anything related to our investigation, then he'd poke his nose into our affairs. Well, he saw you. He probably followed us, so we're better off without him. This way, Yukimura. He nodded, and I returned the favor. Yamazaki and I slid open the door, carefully stepping onto the dusty tatami in my childhood home. Memories of the past came flooding back to me. The stools where patients sat, Father's study, my old bedroom, cabinets and closets left ajar. Together we sifted through documents, but nothing useful caught our attention. We found lots of patient records and prescriptions for medicinal doses, but I suppose he's not clumsy enough to leave behind any tracks, is he? Yamazaki heaved a lamenting sigh, glancing at me inquisitively as he flipped through a stack of parchment. In the meantime, we'll have to work with what we've got. Your memory. Can you describe anything you can remember about Kodo to me? Such as, did he have a morning routine? Would he conduct his research here at home? And try and talk me through some of his daily habits if you can. Well, from time to time, Father liked to step out. It was usually to see his patients, though. Other than that, it's all a little fuzzy. All I can remember is that he was a remarkably kind man. My eyes wandered around the room, hoping to find some kind of totem that would help jog my memory. It's been so much time in this house that it saddened me to think about how ephemeral it all was. Father always loved treating his patients. Father, why did you want to become a doctor? Ha! Quite precocious of you to ask. Wondering what this all means, little one. To tell you the truth, there's no particular reason that I considered studying to become a doctor. I just curated an interest in Western medicine. But as of late, the more I read about it, the more that I realize how different we are to other countries. Portugal, the Netherlands, Great Britain, and Prussia. Many other nations have their sights fixed on our own country. That's because you have the fountain of youth. They want that shit. They've been searching for that forever. This, I assume, will come to mean that our land has an important role to play in our world's future. Thus, we must follow the logic to ask ourselves, what is this role, and for whom must we play it? Huh? Oh, sorry. For a second I lost myself there. Okay now, child. It's time for bed, Spacey. Would you care for a bedtime story? Which one? Okay, so that's supposed to be Kid Spacey, not normal Spacey. It doesn't matter to me, Father. I just want to hear the sound of your voice. Oh, very well. Then why don't I share with you a story of our past? As I strung together my past memories of Father, the only ones coming to mind were scenes of his generosity and charisma. My eyes slowly drooped downwards, and I shook my head as I muttered in a hushed tone. He truly loved me. Day in and day out, he would treat his patients, but somehow he always found time for me, too. I remember when I prepared dinner for the first time. He ate the charred fish, licking his lips and insisting that he loved it, even though it was terrible. Whenever I felt ill, he would keep a lantern by my bedside, staying up with me all night until I slept. I felt like I was excavating myself, sifting for clues in places where there weren't. I only saw his smile. Still, I needed to remind myself why I was here. If he truly wishes to change this country into one filled with furies, does that undo all of the good he's ever done? Was any of it real? No one can say for certain. We'll have to ask him when we see him. Yamazaki took a small step close to me. As I trembled with anxiety, he closed the distance between us. Oh. He didn't lift a finger. Instead, he whispered, bringing our two faces within inches of each other. Something was compelling me to grab onto him, but I feared acting too presumptuously. If you feel like crying, then by all means, I can offer you a shoulder to lean on, if nothing else. You can give us more than that. A body to hold. Oh, it's so cute. He's just like, I'm just going to stand here, not hold you, not do anything. You can lean on me. That's just like adorably awkward. I took solace knowing that, oh God, he does have his arm around her. I see it. Knowing that Yamazaki and I could unequivocally agree upon one thing. Father had committed egregious sins that threatened our way of life and violated human order. Oh, he's like, okay. I'm so sorry, Yamazaki. Is it okay if we just stay like this for a little while? As long as your heart desires. That's so cute. Yamazaki softly wrapped his arms around me. Oh. With a gentle finger, he pushed the tears off my cheek. As much as I hated to admit it, I was overwhelmed with emotion, crushed by a lifetime of meaningless memories that were wilting and fading with time. If only I could retreat into the comfort of Yamazaki's frail, loving embrace until the end of time. His frail embrace. That just sounds so mean. Like, he's delicate, but it's when you say frail, it just makes it sound like he's gonna break. I mean, he's pretty fucking tough. Like, April 1868. Do, 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 do. April 1868. The cherry blossoms floating in the wind would find their resting place on the ground beneath us. Ito was undergoing a changing of the guard. I was like, the what? The Supreme Commander, Lord Ieyasu Tokugawa, was the last in a line of succession that held dominion over Ito and its castle for over 300 years. Ieyasu Tokugawa, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate, who had established the country's strongest feudal government in Ito. What was once a prosperous, wow, I can't read. What was once a prosperous bastion had become an olive branch offered by the fading Tokugawa remnants as a token of surrender to the imperial army. For the townspeople of Ito, all that mattered to them was that they were untouched by the kiss of war. To the Shinsengumi, however, the surrender was a slap in the face, and their sacrifices and toils were wantonly discarded so the shogunate could save its own skin. I mean, that's usually how it works, isn't it? As for Yamazaki and myself, we weren't quite sure of what to make out of the situation. Because the Imperial Army's march hadn't resulted in an all-out battle, the Fury Corps wasn't thrusted into another needless conflict just to hold Ito Castle. As the two of us awaited news from the war front, we decided to remain in Ito, cautiously inspecting the incoming troops for any signs of malfeasance. It only took 10 days for us to receive the news. Kondo's been captured by the Imperial Army? Hearing the news knocked the wind out of me, and my legs buckled so quickly that I thought I'd faint. Well, it's on to backstab them. There you go. It's true. The Shinsengumi soldiers were pinned at the mouth of Nagarayama, and Chief Kondo offered to surrender to buy the other men time to escape. But again, we wouldn't know that Sanin did that unless, aside from going down Saito's bad path. His punishment has been scheduled. In the near future, he's to be beheaded at the Itabashi grounds. Yamazaki bit into his lip, quivering as he stood up and began nervously pacing around the room. All of a sudden, he snapped his fingers as if he figured out some kind of solution. Oh my god, this sucks! You're right, Yamazaki, it does. Where are you going? Isn't it obvious? I'm going to rescue the chief. But this is a clear trap! They're trying to lure the Shinsengumi from out of hiding. Let me get this straight. You suggest that we should just sit here and wait until they decapitate him? Well, yeah. Sorry, but this cannot wait. I appreciate your concern. But nonetheless, duty beckons me. I serve as the Shinsengumi's shadow. If its light is extinguished, as does its shadow. That doesn't make sense. Then let me accompany you. I might not have known him as well as you, but there's no way I can abandon Kondo. It's really you I don't want to abandon. We're gonna get ourselves fucking killed. Hey, look, a new background. We traveled to a forest of bamboo, where soft moonlight flashed through tall bamboo stalks in brief, rhythmic sconces. Horses with imperial insignias were tied to a post beside the Itabashi Inn, signifying that we'd arrived. But we're not gonna be able to get Kondo out. Wait. Is it because they're like, this route doesn't count? Because, like, he's gonna die. He's supposed to die. Like, I mean, I know in Okita's route, Okita doesn't die and Okita dies and everything else, and the same with Yamazaki, but, like, I don't know. Yamazaki and I ducked low to the ground, scoping the encampment for any sign of Kondo. It's quiet, almost eerily so. I don't see anyone around us. I'm getting the creeps. If Itabashi was supposedly housing an entire army, the complete lack of noise was disconcerting. Considering their prisoner was the Shinsengumi's chief, arguably one of the highest profile officers they could have arrested, no one was standing guard. This is almost certainly a trap. Be on your guard. We have to carefully find a way to infiltrate it. Okay, but I'm not sure whom they're trying to trap. It's not nearly as complicated as you make it out to be. If our prey were feisty, difficult to tame, then perhaps lying a more intricate trap would have been necessary, but... What need have we for a trap when our prey is attracted to the scent of fresh bait so willingly? Oh. I was like, are these guys... Okay, it's... Okay. I was like, are these guys actually saying that? Because usually they just go, blood. And they're like... So I'm like, I'm surprised that they're able to make comprehensive sentences. That's why, because it was Kodo. I didn't know who... Okay, anyway. Father! Here he stood, his bald head glistening brightly under the moonlight. 4 years of searching. My father, Kodo Yukimura. It's been quite some time, Spacey. You have blossomed into a beautiful young woman since we last spoke. For a second, I could have sworn that time froze, save for a kind, familiar grin appearing on Father's face. It was as if I were transported to a previous time, a child in front of her father, basking in his warm glow. But it was merely the ghost of a thought. I had to remember myself to stop from sprinting up to him and wrapping my arms around his body. But he was here. Father had a malicious glint in his eye, resembling the look of a man who'd committed the sins for which he had been notoriously accused. On both sides of him stood his cohort of Furies, their eyes, too, glowing in the darkness. I held on to a thread of hope, steeling myself from letting my voice tremble as I called out to him. Father, why are you doing all of this? Why are there Furies with you? Surely Kazama's omen was a misunderstanding. Oh, trust Kazama. Keep calm and trust Kazama. Saying. There was no way that Kazama would have known Father's intentions, so perhaps he was mistaken. Could have known, yeah. The man in front of me, my beloved father, wasn't capable of committing atrocities against mankind. No, girl. Denial. Denial. Not just a river in Egypt. I hoped against all hope that he would assure me, first with his eyes, and then with his eloquent words. My heart, sadly, was too far from the mark. Furies, you say? Ah, it appears that your tenure with the Shinzengumi has taught you many things. Father nodded, grinning wryly. Father, what's the meaning in all of this? Isn't it obvious? I'm working towards building a bigger, brighter, more ideal future for this country. The more information I gather about those wretched Westerners, the more I pity our country's people. Westerners are nothing more than locusts. Soon our country will succumb to their vicious swarms, just as our neighbors south and west of us have. For this reason, I've taken it upon myself to rebuild and defend this glorious nation. Defend it, you say? So by turning innocent people into Furies, you're defending it? You're infecting your people with an unquenchable thirst for blood, and they become monsters that won't stop killing their families, friends, or loved ones. You aren't saving our country. You're throwing it to the wolves. Why? Why are you cursing us? Why, Father? The father I knew would never do such a horrid thing. Everything I knew, I learned from you. What about your patients? You cared for them, and they loved you. Each and every time I drew a fever, you were there by my bedside, staying up all night. Stay up all night. Ah, yes. Of course I remember. His lips curled into a genial smile. The warm, soothing bellow of his voice sank my heart. Drifting carelessly into slumber would have prevented me from observing the effects of the medicine I administered. What? You see, your powers are impressive, but they pale in comparison to what demons are truly capable of. If medicine is my heart, then your body is a precious canvas, and a curious mind cannot help but create. That sounds dirty and gross. You, my child, possess an impressive body. Again, that sounds really creepy and gross. I injected a dose of poison that could kill lesser beings, but you emerged unscathed. Curious indeed. Oh my god, this is horrifying. We didn't know any of this. This is new. Dose of poison? You're lying. I replayed the words in my head, refusing to accept them as they were. A horrifying, chilling reality. Is this why we're useless? Because, like, we should have... Everyone else has, like, demon abilities, and, like, Sen's our age, and she can do something, and I can, like, barely blink without falling over and injuring myself and getting into trouble. Like, I'm just saying, so is that, like, we've been poisoned? He's like, that's why you suck and aren't a demon yet. Oh! Okay, cool, great. Oh, no, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not fine with that. Like, you suck, Dad. But I'm just saying, that's really cool, because otherwise I thought I was just useless and I sucked at being a demon, but it's because you poisoned me, so that makes more sense. All right. Like, oh, reasons. Okay. I replayed the words in my head, refusing to accept them as they were. A horrifying, chilling reality. My mind was rattled by the cognitive dissonance. How could a voice so sweet tell a truth so sour? I've already developed a new kind of fury, one that can withstand the searing rays of sunlight. But with you, we can take my research to heights unknown. If we could harness the properties of your blood, then we could produce the water of life en masse. Bye, buddy. Good boy. Spacey, I have groomed you for the sole purpose, and the time has come to reap my harvest. I hadn't anticipated you to escape from Edo, but all that matters now is that you're here, and that we can resume my research where it had been left off. Enough. Shut your fucking mouth, Koto Yukimura. I like it when Yamazaki pulls a fucking Hijikata. It's great. Ah, Yamazaki, where are my manners? Thank you for safely escorting my daughter back to me. I expected to summon the Shinsengumi with rumors of Kondo's execution like bees to fresh pollen. To see that only one of them fluttered into my midst, well, perhaps I overestimated the Shinsengumi. So it was a trap. I should have known all along. I fucking told you not to do this. You didn't listen to me. I said not to do... Whatever. Mind your tongue, boy. This was no trap. Kondo is, in fact, within this very encampment. So, with that out of the way, allow me to pose you a question. What are you here for, Yamazaki? What you doing, bird? Stupid question. Release Chief Kondo at once. If you interfere, then I will kill you myself. With that, Yamazaki hurled a kunai at lightning speed towards Father, prompting one of his fury minions to dive in the path of the knife, killing it. Father, however, hadn't even broken a sweat, nor had his smug smile left his face. Why must everyone sully the sentimental reunion between a loving father and his daughter? You would do well to learn your place, boy. If you release the chief peacefully, maybe I'll allow you to speak with her. Oh, we both know that isn't going to happen. I have some debts owed to the Imperial Army, too. I was given instructions to use Kondo's name as a ploy to draw the Shinsengumi, which I suppose is easier than luring you with his head on a pike. I've heard enough. You're mine. As Yamazaki kicked into a sprint, a crowd of Furies moved towards him, salivating at the mouth. What the fuck are you doing? Really? You're gonna get peanut all over my couch. I love watching the bird eat peanuts because he holds it in his foot and he just eats the shell and the peanut. He just holds the peanut and it's fucking adorable. Like, I mean, like literally like a whole shelled peanut, you know? But he likes to do is he won't sit in his cage. He sits on my couch. Probably because he's stupid and he constantly like drops it. So he would drop it on the ground. But now he's like dropped it on my couch. What? Yeah, I'm looking at you. Wait, you get peanut crumbs all over my couch. This is why we have to vacuum the couch when we vacuum. Like, literally take the cushions off, vacuum underneath. Fucking crumbs everywhere. Anyway. Sorry. I could just hear crunching noises, and I was like, he's eating a peanut on my couch, isn't he? Child's play. I'll murder you all. Father watched Yamazaki cleave through the Furies with thinned eyes, stroking his chin absent-mindedly. Now's our chance to go stab him. Ho ho! Interesting. Very interesting. Tell me, in the time since my departure from the Shinsengumi, had they worked toward improving the water of life? Or is this one an anomaly? Seriously? You leave half a peanut, crumb them, and now you're back eating other food? Wow. Pardon me if I sound presumptive, but it's rare to see a Fury's speed so deftly enhanced. However... Uh-oh. Okay. I was like, what's he doing? Oh. Father, you're changing. Behold, this is the true image of a demon. Only with the power of the water of life have I achieved such a marvelous form. Father slid his hand into his pockets, clutching a fistful of scalpels before flinging them into the fray. But that's gonna suck because you gotta put your hand in your pocket. Ah, I stabbed myself with a scalpel. I mean, like, you gotta arrange them properly. That's all I'm saying. Yamazaki! What the? The scalpels rained upon the horde of warriors, hitting not only Yamazaki, but all of the surrounding Furies as well. All of these soldiers are just collateral to you, eh? Taking advantage of their healing abilities. Little do you know, it won't kill me either. With a little stab wound here or there. Unfortunately, my friend, you are mistaken. Are they silver? Suddenly, the Furies around Yamazaki collapsed to the floor, moaning and writhing in agony. Their eyes bulged, blood trickling slowly from their sockets and nostrils in a morbid scene. What? Why aren't their wounds recovering? My face drained of color as I glanced over at Yamazaki. The hell did you do to me? Stab wounds from the scalpels tattered Yamazaki's thin arms and legs, and he dropped to his knees. Hurts, doesn't it? The Furies. There's no recovery from this poison, so don't even bother trying. Well, fuck. We didn't make any wrong choices. I'm just going to assume that when we do the bad thing, he's going to die there. So, Father shot a quick, smug look at Yamazaki, then he shifted his line of sight towards me. A menacing glow radiated behind his familiar eyes, summoning chills that crawled along the length of my spine. Now, Spacey, in spite of the circumstances, I'm glad we could chat. Improving my serum and expanding my army of Furies requires the blood of a pure-blooded demon. So what do you want from me? Fret not. In fact, you won't have to do a thing. You won't even have to think. All that I require is your blood. Enough not to kill you. As you know, Furies find the taste of blood absolutely indelible. You bastard. Your own daughter. Do you even know what you're asking? Of course, but progress requires sacrifice. One that I've been cultivating for years now. With luck, Furies will no longer fear sunlight, and with their enhanced attributes, can surpass demons. He crazy, I'm just working with it. In other words, Spacey, you shall become the mother of Furies. They did the person who wrote this part, like, we're gonna try to throw in as much as possible. Like, may luck be ever in your favor. I know it's may the odds be ever in your favor, but still, it is a little too fucking Hunger Games, and this is a little too fucking Game of Thrones for me right now. This is fucking hilarious. Oh my god. What a wonderful honor. Okay. There's no way. How could I forget? We could use a man of your medical expertise, Yamazaki. Care to join our cause? As my assistant, you'd only need to extract Spacey's blood each day, and we could even call you Doctor. It's an enticing offer, I know. What the hell? Yamazaki screamed passionately at the top of his lungs, attempting to lift his body from the ground. Gah! Before Yamazaki could stand, Father kicked him back down, then pressed his foot on a scalpel lodged in Yamazaki's abdomen, deeper into the flesh. Father, stop! I will only stop if you honor my request, my child. But I know you. Always the model daughter. You'll help me achieve my dreams, won't you? The intense pressure of Father's weight caused Yamazaki's wounds to gush heavily with blood. Only if you leave him alone. I wanted nothing more than to reject Father's appalling request, but if he were to keep things like this, Yamazaki would surely have bled to death. Okay! I was shaking violently with rage, and just as I was about to give in out of desperation... Yeah! A blood-curdling scream echoed from somewhere behind us, and I glanced backwards out of reflex. Who the hell are you? Ah! What? What's happening? I don't know, sir. Someone's picking off our troops, one after the other. What the hell? I don't see him anywhere. Ah! As the Fury had said, something was lurking in the shadows, carving through their flesh and bones like a butcher through swine. Few individuals were aware of how to kill Furies outright, let alone accomplish the deed successfully. If the Shinsengumi men were already in Aizu, then whoever could it be? Grrrr! Well, okay, so many thoughts, but I can't remember all their colors. Sanan's color is green, but I don't think it's that color green, but it could be, is it Shinpachi? Could be Nagakura. Harada's orange, but it's not Heisuke because he's yellow. I'm seriously trying to think, I'm trying to remember, but I don't know why it would be Sanan because he's probably dead. And the only other people that left the Shinsengumi are Nagakura and Harada. So the attacker's silhouette came within view. Who are you? The impenetrable wall of furies had crumbled. I mean, it's definitely not Okita, you know what I mean? So it's like, scattered all along the floor were the ghoulish remains of flayed limbs soaking up rich puddles of blood. Wait, that's Okita. How can it... Wait. It can't be Ibuki. It can't be, because why would it... But Okita's... How is it... How could it... But Okita's the sword of the Shinsengumi, so how the fuck did he... How did he manage to not be dead? Wait. Alright. Anyway, so we're just... Is it Okita? He's the sword of the Shinsengumi. It's the only person it can be, but yet... Okay, so... Something remarkable happened. A vision, cutting like light through the darkness, clad in a sky blue... Haiori? Haiori? Oh my fucking god! I was not expecting it! I wasn't. I'm like, Okita's basically dead, so it's not fucking Okita. Even though, like... Oh my god! Okita! What are you doing? This is so exciting! You're not dead! You and Yamazaki are great together. Because, like, Yamazaki was alive in your round, you're alive in his round. It's like, they're like little partner rounds, and it's so good. But, you know, it's sad because we're not going to see you or Yamazaki again. We should have done Yamazaki later. If I knew how this one was going to go. Oh, Okita. My precious baby Okita. Did you guys know he was going to show up? You didn't know, did you? Did you? I didn't. I didn't know. I didn't know Yamazaki was going to be alive in his route because I forgot. I forgot which one. I mean, he died in pretty much everything, but anyway. I forgot how to do Okita's voice. Fuck. I'm so used to doing all the other deep voices that I don't know if I can do Okita's voice anymore. Well, yeah, no, it's okay. He just got to be cocky. We can just be cocky. Anyway, Soji Okita, captain of the Shinsengumi's 1st Division. Okita? Why? What are you doing here? Huh, seen better days, haven't you? To think, you used to call yourself a Shinsengumi man, Yamazaki. No need to waste my breath. There's only one reason I drag myself out to this dump. Oh, he can't. That's right. You know, it's funny. When Yamazaki was talking about rescuing Kondo, I'm like, that's such a thing that Okita would do. I was like thinking in my head, like, oh, Okita tried to do that too. And then like, So I should not have been surprised. Because you know what? You know what? I forgot. There's only one reason I'm here. Oh, yeah, I know. I shouldn't have been surprised about that. You came off your deathbed and you're going to go die somewhere just to save Kondo. Yep. I don't know. Maybe in this route they're going to be like, well, we'll just... Kondo doesn't die in this one. What? That's weird, but okay. Hey, Okita's fine. Air quotes around that. It's been a while, Kodo. I'll spell this out for you. If you hand Kondo over to me, then I'll spare you the gruesome fate suffered by your little minions. Fucking Okita. I know it's Yamazaki's route, but fucking Okita. You're such an asshole, but I love you so much. You know what's funny, though? Even though he kept threatening to kill us and he was kind of a dick to us the whole time, I was always like, he's so adorable. It just never fazed me. Even though literally he was like, I'll fucking kill you. And you're like, you're so cute when you say that. Something wrong with me. Okita shot a cold glare at Father from a distance, anticipating himself to lunge quickly on command. His eyes dripped with a hateful aggression. I fucking love you. Life is full of surprises. Another rat here to spoil the fun. Spare me your breath, Okita. I've heard all about your illness. It's fatal. The clock is ticking. In fact, I'd sooner get you a chair than your chief. How did you travel here? Can you even stand? Okita remained silent. He's like, do you fucking see my legs? Do you see me standing on them? His cheeks were pale and gaunt, and his clothes were loose over his delicate body. It was clear that his condition had worsened. I grew anxious, hoping he wouldn't faint. Beats me. Instead of asking me, you should shut that blabbermouth of yours and find out yourself. He's passionate about this. It's like a mother lifting a goddamn truck off her kid, you know? Ah! Like, that's basically Okita. It's like the fucking adrenaline right now. Okay, attack! Father raised his hand, signaling a gang of Furies encircling our group to lunge for Okita. One thing Okita hadn't lost was his swagger, and he fearlessly walked toward the rushing horde, letting his sword screech as he dragged it along the floor. Only when the Furies were a split second from crashing into him had Okita raised his sword, piercing into one's chest with impeccable precision. He then maneuvered his sword as a fulcrum, using his foe's lifeless body to propel his momentum forward. Fulcrum, not fulcrum, whatever. In one swift movement, he twisted the blade out of the Fury's body and slashed at the next incoming Fury, decapitating its head cleanly from its body. We're supposed to be in Yamazaki's route, but right now we're like, oh, Okita, oh! Fangirling, fanning ourselves. Like, I'm literally fanning my fangirl stuff right now. The resulting force knocked Okita square in his back, but he had enough muscle memory to roll out of the way, dodging the bloody stampede. His body was filthy with blood and dirt. Soon, he launched into an astonishing display of technique, bouncing between Furies like his sword was guiding his movements. One by one, the Furies fell victim to his graceful destruction, ribbons of blood splashing in the air. He persevered, spurned by his mission to save Kondo. This cannot be. How can you still fight? You're grown, senile old man. Look at me. Fucking arms and legs could be ripped from my body. And that'd still be a pathetic excuse not to risk my goddamn life to save Kondo's. Fucking love him. Oh, Okita. You bastard. Takes one to know one. Oh, and by the way, your new Furies, they're shit. Same old shit. My lungs are working at less than a quarter strength. They're still more useless in battle than her. Wow. Okita, that hurt. That hurt a little. It's true, but it hurt a little. Without missing a beat, Okita slashed his blade into an enemy Fury's head, tearing its face asunder and exposing brain and teeth with his blade's sharp edge. Ew! Okay, I don't need that kind of descriptiveness. Why are you just standing there, Spacey? Hurry up and grab Yamazaki and run. You expect me to leave you here, Okita? So you think I need Yamazaki, who can't even move, to help me? Or you? That chance. Honestly, you're just in my way. Okita coldly dismissed my concern, turning his back towards us before addressing me softly. Listen closely, Spacey, and listen well. Okita spoke candidly with his usual sardonic tone, but his cocksure attitude was a front, and his eyes dripped with melancholy. He cleared his throat, shifting his line of sight. If I could learn to see through Okita's veneer and accept a sincere sentiment when he offered it, then I would be disrespected. If I couldn't learn to see through Okita's veneer and accept a sincere sentiment when he offered it, then I would be disrespecting his sacrifice. Okita, may the fortunes of war rest in your favor. Thanks, kid. That's more like it. I bit my lip to the point of breaking the skin. I lifted Yamazaki up, letting him rest on my back, and began to walk as I heard Okita's voice behind me. I can't wait to see you, Kondo. If I kill every one of these bastards and reach him in time, would he be proud of me? Oh. Okita wasn't being a dick. He was like, okay, fucking take him and go. I don't need your fucking help. Like, dude, I'm gonna die anyway. Just take him and go. I'll die here and protect you guys. Oh, Okita. But you know what? It's sad because you're like, oh, Okita's gonna die. He's so gonna die there. But you know what? It hurts a little, but it doesn't at the same time. It's a beautiful kind of pain because you're like, Okita is gonna die doing what makes him happy. He's gonna die trying to save Kondo, and he's going to fight till his last breath, and it's gonna be beautiful, and that's how he would want to go out, as opposed to how he does in every other path, except for his. Well, you know, that we know of. Just lying somewhere in a clinic, just not being able to breathe until he dies. You know what I mean? Like, he just wastes away into nothingness. And he's probably miserable, and at least here he's like, fuck that shit, I'm going out in a blaze of glory. Oh, Okita. You got the death you wanted. It's still sad. It's sad. But you know what? It's sad because we got to see him, as opposed to, like, where they're like, Okita's wasting away, and you're like, so he died. Okay. Thanks for just writing him off, game. Okay. Hell, Sonnen wasn't even in this route at all, was he? Was he? He was in the beginning, I think, but whatever. Everything after leaving Okita was a blur. With Yamazaki on my back, I sprinted through the forest, fighting the urge to collapse from exhaustion. I had no idea where to go, or how long to run. Fatigue tightened my calf muscles, as if my body were crying out to me in a desperate plea to stop. I grew dizzy to the point that my vision was swirling, hues of black and red clouding my sight. You're trying to carry fucking Yamazaki. Suddenly we toppled to the ground, slamming into the mountainous terrain as a breeze grazed our cheeks. No, we must go further. No matter how many times I repeated the thought to myself, I couldn't will myself to lift my body from the ground. Oh no. Then I heard footsteps tapping somewhere in the close distance, and my eyelids drooped, slinking my consciousness into darkness. Fuck. It's gonna be a boogie. Save our ass. How long had I been asleep? Where am I? I slowly widened my eyes, seeing a wood panel ceiling overhead as my limbs stretched into the warm futon. Then, when I laid upright from the futon, I noticed another body in the duvet beside me. I'm not going to snore, but he's right. Yamazaki? Yukamura, you're awake. What a relief. Are you the one who's been taking care of me while I was unconscious? Of course I had. You were really knocked out, as I was beginning to worry that perhaps you had gone into cardiac arrest. I heaved a heavy sigh in relief, attempting to piece together my memories of when I was last awake. Ah yes, I remember now. We planned a rescue mission to Itabashi, an imperial hotbed, in order to save Kondo. No. What happened to Kondo and Okita? Are they okay? I believe I'm better suited to explain the aftermath of the night's events back to you. Oh, Masumoto, I totally forgot about him. Dr. Masumoto, what are you doing here? Well, Dr. Masumoto actually saved our lives. Somehow he miraculously discovered our unconscious bodies and took us into his clinic. My finding you was an immense stroke of fortune, as I happen to be traveling to Aizu to serve as a medical advisor for the Shogunate Army. Shogunate Army 3. A description for the last remaining Shogunate loyalist who employed Western artillery and tactics in the losing fight against the Imperial Army. Spoiler! Just kidding. While en route, I happened to pass Itabashi Inn when I heard bodies collapse somewhere in the forest. I sprinted over as quickly as I could. When I realized whom it was, I nearly had a heart attack. I see. I cannot begin to thank you enough. It can almost be considered of divine intervention that it was Dr. Masumoto, of all people, who'd found us. I lowered my head to bow at him once more, only for Dr. Masumoto to scratch his head dejectedly. In any case, Yamazaki filled me into the sordid details. What a bind you've all found yourselves in. Yes, we stayed behind from the main troops' vanguard to keep watch over Ito, but then we got word of Kondo's capture. I hate to be the one to break the news. Oh, I knew Kondo wasn't, but I knew he wasn't going to, but it still hurts. But unfortunately, neither Kondo nor Akita survived. I see. Silence filled the room after Dr. Masumoto spoke. Although I expected as much, nothing could stop my heart from feeling like it shattered into 1,000 pieces. Soon my eyes were puffy with a stream of tears. We knew Kondo was going to get beheaded, because that's always happens. But, and we knew Okita was going to die, but it's still I just didn't want to hear it. My deepest condolences. Sadly, Kondo was a foregone conclusion, but I take the sole blame for the death of Okita. I hadn't been convinced that he was capable of making it there, let alone carrying his sword. No, you cannot bear the responsibility of his actions, Dr. Masumoto. It is my belief that Okita chose to die on his own terms. Exactly. Rather than waste away in a bed, he chose to live his final moments as a warrior, putting his convictions and loyalty for Kondo and his friends behind his sword. It's just the kind of man he was, and no one else could better fit the title of the Shinsegumi's captain of the 1st Division. I see. Ugh, you warriors are all the same. Dr. Masumoto shook his head in frustration, rubbing his temples with his fingers before looking at me. Yukamura, how does your body feel? When I found you, you were pale and haggard. I'm fine, thank you. Forget about me. How are Yamazaki's wounds? Well, I was able to treat him immediately, but if it had also been brought to my attention that he's a fury, judging by the fact that his regenerative powers hadn't kicked in, I assumed Kodo exploited some weakness. Logic would dictate his weapons were coated in some kind of poisonous substance. Oh, whatever the case, it has exposed that furies are not invincible. Okay. Wait, does that mean Yamazaki's scars are permanent? Luckily, the wounds have clotted and the bleeding stopped. It only means the gashes will take an ordinary amount of time to heal naturally. Oh, what a relief. However, these wounds are quite serious. I highly recommend that he doesn't aggravate his wounds. He's like, I'm not going to listen to that, right? Apologies, Dr. Masumoto, but the luxury of time is something we cannot afford. Until we are able to thwart Kodo's plans, there is still so much for us to do, and places for us to go. If need be, I volunteer to tackle this endeavor alone. It pains me to think that you suffer the same delusion that killed your friend only days ago. Dr. Masumoto's face wrinkled with frustration in response to Yamazaki's insistent attitude. Well, suppose I can't fault you for fighting fire with fire. Do as you please. Can only ask, have you stopped to consider the consequences? Do you know what happens when furies reach their body's point of overexertion? Yes, but I've already died once before. At this point, I no longer fear death. She's like, oh, whatever. Hearing Yamazaki shred any concern for himself or his future felt like a knife digging underneath my skin. All of a sudden, my chest tightened in pain. I did my best to keep my feelings hidden. Meanwhile, Dr. Masumoto shot Yamazaki a look of scrutiny. We should have stopped before this. I didn't think this. But see, it was one of those we're almost at time, but this is why I did this last time. Anyway, normally, I wouldn't dare to think of saying this to someone in your condition. But as you say, time is not a luxury we can afford, and neither is decorum. Fury powers are a gift, not a curse. You're merely delaying the inevitable by continuing to rely upon them. The same could be said about medicine. Treating a patient means delaying the natural course of action. The water of life is no different, as it gives people an opportunity to live their life. No, you're incorrect. Dr. Masumoto swiftly denied Yamazaki's claim. He kept his composure, taking a deep breath before dismantling Yamazaki's argument. Medicine is used to restore and maintain the body's vitality. Ultimately, our aim is to ensure the health of our patients' bodies and minds for their life's entirety. Can the same be said for the water of life, however? Does the opposite, reduces the body and mind to ash. Every day spent in its caustic tendrils costs a day, week, or even months from your life. It'll destroy you, for as long as you suffer its affliction, it'll eat away your body and mind. Another heavy sigh came from Dr. Masimoto's mouth as he stepped away from us, placing his hand on the room's exit door handle. Lest you forget, Yamazaki, using your fury powers will grant you an advantage in any battle, but you may not live long enough to see the war to its end. Many will mourn your death should it happen. You mean more to us than you realize. What he said. Eat away your body and mind. I repeated Dr. Masimoto's words, letting them sink in as I bowed in front of him as he exited the room. The risk of using the fury powers were as costly as Dr. Masimoto had suggested. It made Father's plot all the more nefarious, as no one should be made to suffer such a horrific condition. I had to steady my anxious hands. So, what's next for us? For starters, my father revealed some important information about where the Furies are headed. I guess that means we've completed the mission given to us by the Shinsengumi. Do not report to the Shinsengumi. That's what it tells me to do. But I'm not sure if we should tell them everything that we saw. Explain yourself. Well, it's just like what you told Kazama and Amagiri. If our goal is ensuring the survival of the Shinsengumi, who are off fighting their own war, we can't burden them with a task of this magnitude. He's like, if you agree with me, Yamazaki, then I believe this is best left for you and me to handle. We can't allow the Shinsengumi to spread itself too thin, so it's best if we keep this news to ourselves. Yes, you make a compelling argument. Not just because Kazama and Amagiri said so, either. This is our path. One that only the two of us can go. We'll stop at nothing to halt Kodo Yukimura's plans. The Shinsengumi will suffer no more pain. Let's do it! I didn't mean help, I meant it. And then also that other thing. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap this part up here, and then we will continue in the next chapter 4 already. Look at that. Well, there you go. Perfect timing. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.